Welcome friends. In this video we will discuss how 5G will impact your life. We will explain what 5G is and finally we shall briefly talk about if 5G has any negative impact on human health. Also, I have a quiz question for you. If you know the answer, add it to the comment section. Otherwise, my answer is there at the end of the video. The question is, how will 5G have a lower latency if the processing will be done in the cloud? But before we proceed ahead, friends, please subscribe our channel and like and share all our videos. If you like this video, please press the like button and press the bell icon. If you do not like this video, show it up by pressing the dislike button. More than speed, the biggest benefit of 5G is its low latency. Latency refers to the time lag between a device asking the network and getting a response. 5G almost eliminates the time lag. It means that a surgeon could be thousands of miles away from the patient, controlling equipment and carrying out the surgery in his own house. 5G will also allow you to transmit your tactile, that is, touch sensation in real time. 5G will enable cooperating vehicles and cooperating drones. It will also enable virtual reality, best streaming, guaranteed connectivity, and extraordinary quality. With 5G, the number of devices which can be connected to the network will increase tremendously. All connected devices will have instant connection to the internet to exchange information with each other. This will favor Internet of Things IoT. 5G is basically mobile telecom infrastructure which is designed to connect everyone and everything together, including machines, objects, and devices. Yet, no one company or a single person owns 5G. Instead, there are several companies within the mobile ecosystem that are contributing to bringing 5G to life. 5G brings three key things. First is the bigger channels to speed up data. Second, lower latency to be more responsive. And thirdly, the ability to connect a lot more devices at once for sensors and smart devices. When compared to 4G, 5G has significantly lower latency. By some estimates, latency for 4G is around 20 to 30 milliseconds. But for 5G, it will be below 10 milliseconds. And in best scenarios, 5G will have latency of around 1 millisecond. For comparison, human hand has a reaction time between 150 to 300 times slower. 5G is significantly faster than 4G, at least 10 times faster. 5G has more capacity than 4G as it will be able to handle 1000 times more traffic. 5G uses spectrum better than 4G. That is, 5G has better spectral efficiency. 5G is a unified platform that is more capable than 4G. 5G requirements also include 99.999% availability, 100% coverage, 90% reduction in network energy usage, up to 10-year battery life for low power IoT devices, and up to 100 times number of connected devices per unit area compared with 4G LTE. Over the last 4 decades, each G or generation of telecom network brought new things which we could transmit while being mobile. 1G was basically analog cellular and gave us mobile sound or voice. 2G introduced texting on mobile phones and gave us CDMA, GSM and TDMA, which are basically the first generation of digital cellular technologies. 3G technologies such as EVDO, HSPA and UMTS brought speeds from 200 kbps to a few megabits per second and allowed for mobile internet. 4G technologies include WiMAX and LTE and made everything run much faster. Electronic devices, including cell phones and wireless routers, use specific frequencies on the electromagnetic spectrum. These and the frequencies used by 4G telecom operators are typically up to 3 GHz. As more and more devices are getting online, the current 4G frequency bandwidth is becoming crowded. Overcrowding within a small band of frequencies leads to dropped connections and slower speeds. A solution to overcrowding is to allow devices to operate on frequencies in other bandwidths, that is, open up additional frequencies for telecommunications. 5G does exactly this. It opens up more frequency bands from 3 GHz to 39 GHz and possibly up to 300 GHz in future. Opening up this portion of spectrum means more frequencies would be available for many more devices to communicate. In addition to getting more frequencies, 5G has its own set of brand new technologies as well. The five main technologies in 5G are millimeter waves, small cells, massive MIMO, beamforming, and full duplex. While communication, we use electromagnetic waves, which are divided into 7 types. Radio waves for instant communication, microwaves for data and heat, infrared waves are invisible heat, visible light makes us all see, ultraviolet waves are energetic light, X-rays are the ones which can penetrate our bodies, and gamma rays are the nuclear energy. The communication link between the two stations in mobile communication is known as air interface or access mode. For wide area coverage, 5G networks operate on up to 3 frequency bands: low, medium and high. Low band 5G uses a frequency range which is similar to the 4G cell phones, that is 600 to 850 MHz. Mid-band 5G uses microwaves with frequencies between 2.5 GHz to 3.7 GHz. Since less than 6 GHz is used for mobile devices of the previous generations, the 5G will include all the previous cellular spectrum and a large amount of spectrum in the sub 6 GHz range. High band 5G uses microwaves with frequencies between 25 GHz to 39 GHz. Note that microwave frequencies range between 1 GHz to 1000 GHz with respective wavelengths of 30 to 0.03 centimeter. And a question may be asked, if we are using microwaves in cell phone communication, then why does our skin not burn just like a toast gets burned in a microwave oven? The answer is that the power of a cell phone is very low, which can be easily borne by our skin or body. Moreover, for cell phone communications, we are using the lower end of microwave frequencies, that is near 1 GHz to around 6 GHz, which carry much less energies. That's the reason we are not toasted when we operate our cell phones. Another noteworthy point is that the wireless routers in our homes operate at 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz frequencies. A router with 5 GHz frequency provides nearly double the speed compared that by a router on 2.4 GHz. This is because the waves used in 5 GHz router have almost double the frequency compared to 2.4 GHz router, and as you may have figured it out, if we increase the frequencies, we can increase the speed. But increasing the frequencies has its own problems as well. You may like to note that the mobile phones for 5G are meant to be having modems from 20 GHz to 70 GHz. Note that millimeter waves are broadcast at frequencies between 30 and 300 GHz. They are called millimeter waves because they vary in their wavelengths from 1 to 10 millimeter. For comparison, the radio waves which are used in today's smartphones measure tens of centimeters in length, around 1000 times longer than the millimeter waves. So far, millimeter waves were used for satellite and radar operations. Now, some cellular providers have begun to use them to exchange data between two stationary points. But using millimeter waves to connect mobile users with a nearby base station is entirely a new approach. But all is not that rosy with millimeter waves. The problem these waves have is that they cannot easily travel through the buildings or obstacles. Millimeter waves are easily absorbed by trees, plants and rain. This drawback can be overcome by the second technology of the 5G called as small cells. A small cell is just mini portable base station which requires very low power. Remember that millimeter waves cannot penetrate plants and buildings. Thus, to prevent signals from being dropped, telecom operators may install thousands of these small cell base stations in a town to create a dense network to act like a relay team. Each base station will receive signals from other base stations and may forward data to users. A dense network of small cells increases both the radios per subscriber and provides improved signal quality for a more efficient data transfer. The shorter distance between radio sites also helps overcome short signal distance reach of millimeter waves or other higher frequencies in the 5G radio spectrum. In other words, small cells improves both the coverage and capacity of the network. As a result, small cells are becoming the leading solution to increasing the data capacity of the network. Small cells are small enough to be installed on light poles or on top of residential buildings. This dense network structure provides more targeted and efficient use of spectrum. Spectrum in simple terms means number of frequencies available to communicate. This is a very scarce and expensive resource. Companies bid in billions to buy rights to use these frequencies. Installing more base stations in a 5G small cell network means the frequencies that one base station uses to connect with the mobile devices in one area can be reused by another station in a different area to serve another customer. That is, smaller cells lead to greater reuse of frequencies and hence more spectral efficiency. This can also be understood easily by considering evolution from older mobile radios to current 4G networks. In the very early phases, we had radio telephones in cars. In this system, there was one central antenna tower in a city and perhaps only 25 channels available on that tower. Since this central antenna was far away, the phone in the car needed a powerful transmitter to reach the antenna far away. Also, limited number of available channels meant that not only many people could use this simultaneously. Then came cell phones. This system divided the city into many small cells, which allowed for frequency reuse across the city so that many people could use cell phones simultaneously. In a typical analog cell phone system in the US, carriers were granted about 800 frequencies in a city. Carriers then divided the city into many cells and reused frequencies across them to allow many users to use cell phones simultaneously. With small cells, there is an issue. The large number of small cells required to build a 5G network may make it hard to set them up in rural areas. In addition to broadcasting over millimeter waves, 5G base stations will also have to have many more antennas fitted into them vis-a-vis the base stations of today's cellular networks. Fitting many antennas into smaller size is a problem, which takes us to another technology in 5G called as massive MIMO. We know length of an antenna is half of the wavelength of the waves it emits. Also, wavelength is inverse of frequency. So, higher the frequency in 5G, for example millimeter waves, smaller will be the size of antenna. If the size of antenna is small, we can fit many more antennas into one array. And that's a great news. It means we can build small cell base stations with a large number of antennas fitted into them relatively more easily. 4G base stations have about a dozen antenna ports. These ports manage all the cellular traffic. Out of the 12, 8 ports are for transmitters and 4 ports are for receivers. Whereas 5G base stations can support about 100 ports, which means many more antennas can fit into a single array. This increased capability means that the base station can send and receive signals from many more users simultaneously, thus increasing the capacity of mobile networks. This increase is by a factor of 22 or more. Simultaneously using 2 or more antennas for input and output signals, that is receiving and sending signals, is called as MIMO, which stands for multiple input, multiple output. In massive MIMO, dozens of antennas are used in a single array. Hence, the word massive is used along with the concept of MIMO. In fact, the most commonly seen definition of massive MIMO is that it is a system where the number of antennas exceeds the number of users. In practice, it is called massive when there are 64 or more logical antenna ports in an array in a base station. MIMO has big limitation. Antennas send signals in every direction at once. Therefore, when so many antennas are placed so close to each other, it causes interference in signals emitted by different antennas. To address this challenge, we use another technology called as beam forming. Instead of broadcasting in every direction, a 5G base station sends a focused beam of data to a particular user. This is called as beam forming. Many times the terms massive MIMO and beam forming are used interchangeably. But in reality, we can say that beam forming is used in massive MIMO. That is, beam forming is a subset of massive MIMO. In fact, beam forming has its own three subcategories, which are digital beam forming, also known as pre-coding, analog beam forming, and hybrid beam forming. Massive MIMO uses many antennas. Since these antennas are placed too close, there is interference among the signals sent out by these antennas. To avoid interference, beam forming is used. Beam forming controls the direction of the wavefront. This is achieved by appropriately weighing the magnitude and phase of signal transmitted by individual antenna in an array. In other words, same signal is sent from different antennas, but there is a phase difference or say space between them, space of at least half wavelength. This causes constructive interference of signal waves in one direction and causes destructive interference in all other directions. That is, a beam or a lobe is formed in one direction while no signal is sent in other directions. At the receiving end, the user gets multiple copies of the same signal, one each from different antennas. However, depending on the location of the receiver vis-a-vis the tower, these multiple signals may be in opposite phases, destructively interferenced and hence cancelling each other out, or constructively interferenced to create stronger signal. Before going forward, let's understand beam forming in a little more detail. We know an antenna contains a radiating element which emits electromagnetic radiation in all directions. But instead of all directions, if we want to focus the radiation in one direction, then we will have to use more than one radiating elements and feed them with the same signal. It will still be called as one antenna, but signal will be more directed. For example, if we use two radiating elements placed next to each other, we get twice the energy in one direction and less energy going sideways in other directions. This 2 times energy is called as 3 decibels. Similarly, if we have 4 radiating elements and feed them with the same signal, we still have one antenna, but we will get 4 times the energy going forward in one direction, and it is called as 6 decibels. The problem with this is that the receiver has to be in front of the antenna. If the receiver were to be on a side, the signal will not reach it. So, in order to direct the beam in some direction, we need to change direction of the antenna, or we need to feed each radiating element with same signal but with different phases. If signal to all radiating elements is same except that they have different phases, we will have constructive interference in one direction, and there will be destructive interference in all other directions. Instead of different phases, we can also use different amplitude to have constructive interference in a given direction and create different types of beams. By varying the input signals to the radiating elements, one can create multiple beams as well. These beams could go in different directions. In fact, one can also create a beam which goes directly downward to a user standing at the foot of the base station tower. This process of sending multiple beams is called as spatial multiplexing or spatial division multiple access, SDMA. Number of antennas is same as the number of input signals. One can multiplex as many beams as the number of antennas. For example, with 4 antennas, you can send 1 strong beam, or 2 less stronger beams, or 4 weaker beams. In addition to using massive MIMO, 5G engineers are also trying to increase throughput and decrease latency by using a technology called as full duplex, which modifies the way antennas transmit and receive data. Before we talk more about full duplex, let's first recall how send and receive is handled in 3G and 4G networks. These old networks use 2 basic configurations. First is frequency division duplexing, FDD. In FDD, transmission and reception happen at 2 different frequencies. In other words, the signals are sent in one band of the spectrum and the signals are received in another spectrum block. The second configuration is called as time division duplex, TDD. In this, the sent signal is separated from the received signal by using different time slots. in the same frequency band. That is, the send and the receive signals take turns. It means send or uplink signal connects for a few seconds and then the downlink or the receive signal connects for the next few seconds. The full duplex is the ability of a transceiver to transmit and receive data at the same time on the same frequency. This technology can potentially double the network capacity. In full duplex, the spectrum efficiency can be improved greatly compared to the half duplex HD, but there is a problem in full duplex. The problem is of severe self-interference SI, which means signal leakage from a transmitter to its own receiver. There are some techniques which scientists are planning to use to overcome this problem. These techniques include propagation domain SI suppression, analog domain SI cancellation, and digital domain SI cancellation. However, there are some other obstacles in achieving the theoretical full duplex gain, such as residual self-interference, traffic constraints, and inter-cell or intra-cell interference. Some features of 5G include peer-to-peer, that is P2P possibility, multiple routes to every connection, software-defined networks, context-aware resource allocation of bandwidth, etc. For peer-to-peer, it occurs when two devices talk to each other directly without having any server in between. In 5G, P2P or device-to-device D2D is a key communication paradigm to support heterogeneous objects interconnection. For example, two cars which are within same cell may talk to each other directly without involving any intermediary. Similarly, two cell phones sitting close to each other can make a direct connection and exchange voice or data, instead of routing their conversation or files through any other servers or going out of a given cell. 5G's P2P will enable direct and fast connection among a factory equipment, and it will interconnect smart sensors in homes, cities, farms, etc. Because millimeter waves have very short range, scientists were always worried about connection reliability. Therefore, they have built many paths or routes to every connection between any 2 points. So, if you are talking to your friend over phone, there would be more than one way the communication could be routed by the network. So, if one connection breaks, another path will take over and communication will continue seamlessly. This increases system reliability and ensures that the quality of service is maintained to a uniform high level. 5G is imagined to provide several services and run on many complex technologies. All these applications and services cannot be handled without distributed software management, which can be controlled from a few centralized locations in the network. In general, the network and its elements need to be software configurable or defined so as to provide agile and flexible services. In simple words, we can say that the physical hardware will be generic and service providers will be able to configure it to their specific needs. For example, one carrier may configure one block of spectrum for all videos, while another carrier may configure same block for voice communication. With the objective of providing high quality of service, the 5G system will need to be context aware. It means that the system will be able to obtain and use real-time information on network, devices, applications, and environment of the user and make adjustments to the computational resources allocation. For example, if the voice traffic on a network is increasing and video traffic is almost nil, then the system will get this information in real time and will be able to redirect and allocate more resources to, say, the voice exchanges instead of the video traffic. So, the quality of the service to the voice users is not compromised. In short, a 5G base station will observe context information from users' environment and then utilize this knowledge to carry out an efficient throughput delay trade-off. This is called as context-aware resource allocation. If 5G is so fabulous, are there any negatives of 5G? There are some concerns that are being raised, such as negative health impacts. Some people doubt that excessive radiation of higher frequency may be harmful to humans, animals, and plants. At this time, we can only say that the government, regulatory authorities, intergovernmental organizations, and several non-profit organizations carry out in-depth analysis of every new technology. They will analyze all the pros and the cons and will make correct decisions which are in the interest of human population. One such organization is International Commission on Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection, ICNIRP, which has also recently released its guidelines on limiting exposure to electromagnetic radiation. Another implication of 5G may be that the locational privacy of individuals may be very difficult to maintain. At all times, a precise location of every device and any human holding such device will be known to the network with a great accuracy. We are at the end of our video and here is the answer to the question we had asked in the beginning. Question was, how will 5G have a lower latency if the processing will be done in the cloud? For answer, we can say that in 5G, latency means over the air latency. This latency is between the user device and the radio network. It is not the latency involving cloud. To decrease the overall latency, the service providers may put data much closer to the end users. This is the reason network operators are thinking of renting space at their cell sites to host applications and/or data for other companies such as content providers. It is believed that mobile edge computing (MEC) technologies will play important role in meeting this challenge.